Time for a look at what's making the headlines in the world papers now on France 24, for which I'm joined by Aurore Dupuis. Hi, Aurore. Starting off, obviously, with Syria, which is dominating everywhere, really.
Absolutely, and we've long talked about fears that the violence could spread to neighbouring countries. Well, today a British think tank says that a Western intervention is looking increasingly likely. According to the Royal United Services Institute, it wouldn't be a full-scale invasion, but it suggests a more limited action, protecting civilians, for example, providing protection for a future transition government. Now, The Guardian, the British newspaper, doesn't give us much more detail about that possible intervention, but the article does imply that the war in Syria could turn into a wider sectarian conflict within the Arab world, which would pit Bashar al-Assad's Alawite community and its Shiite allies against the Sunni rivals, meaning that countries like Iran, Lebanon and Iraq could be in deep trouble.
And one country worried by all of this, of course, Israel.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at a piece in the Huffington Post, which talks about the Syrian-Israeli border where the Golan Heights lie, and that area is now controlled by Israel, as you know, but it used to belong to Syria up until 1967. And an Israeli security guard says that he's worried that Bashar al-Assad could soon become desperate and could soon claim back its old territory.
Okie dokie, let's move on now. The Colorado shooting still featuring heavily around the world, the fallout from that.
Absolutely, and the Washington Post concentrates on the prime suspect, James Holmes, 24-year-old student, who used to study at the University of Colorado. He studied neuroscience, and so the article wonders why his professors, who are meant to be experts in mental illnesses, why didn't they spot anything that was going on with James Holmes. Now, according to one professor who's from a different university now, he says that most neuroscientists actually focus on mice. They study mice and they aren't specialized in psychology or in behavioral science. So that's why they probably didn't spot anything. Meanwhile, the Washington Post, though, points out that Holmes received a grant to cover his tuition fees with an annual living allowance of $26,000. Wow. Now, was that money used to pay for his guns and explosive devices? Well, investigators will try and look into that in the future.
And unsurprisingly, all this fueling the debate on gun control in the United States.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at a cartoon from the International Herald Tribune, which illustrates that quite well. And you can see the entrance to a cinema with people queuing up to watch the film The Nth Gun Battle.
OK, let's move to the UK now, and 8 people in total charged over this phone hacking scandal at the heart of Rupert Murdoch's media empire.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the front page of the British newspaper, The Independent. Murdoch's finest brought to trial, and you can see inside the paper the list of victims, including various Hollywood stars, Brangelina, politicians, and also Millie Dowler, a dead schoolgirl from which this whole scandal emerged. Now that, according to The Independent, it's bad news for the Prime Minister, David Cameron, because, as you know, he once hired one of the suspects, Andy Coulson, as his spin doctor. And Cameron and his family are also close to Rebecca Brooks, who's the former News International chief executive. They used to go horse riding together, have dinners together, send each other text messages. So it is a very embarrassing scandal for the Prime Minister, especially as general elections are coming up in 2015. Now, The Guardian also talks about this on its front page, and it's got really strong words in its editorial. It says, I quote, "Among the accused should stand the Prime Minister on charges of sheer arrogance, incompetence and failure to heed vital warning signs that brought this scandal to the heart of the government."
OK, finally, both of our favourite UK paper, the Daily Mail.
Absolutely. The Daily Mail, just a few days before the Olympics. Well, one of Great Britain's sportswomen has been subject to insults. Zoe Smith, as you can see in the picture there, she's 18 years old. She's a weightlifter and she's aiming to get the gold medal. Unfortunately, she appeared in a TV documentary recently, and since then she's been bullied. She's received harsh messages from internet users saying that she looked like a man and a lesbian. Obviously, she replied on her Twitter.
Aurore Dupuis, let's leave it there. Thanks very much for that roundup of the international press. Do stay with us here on France 24. Coming up very shortly, business.